So
They can't make it till tomorrow because their wire cutoff is 3:30.
oh, okay.
But,
Yeah.
she,
Also, you're
They have
talking,
it
there's just a
set to go first
space,
thing
so
in
the
the
closet
morning.
would turn into that.
regardless
Okay,
of what
but that
time.
room is still there.
Okay.
I see, okay.
Oh, let's get up early. What time do they open?
It doesn't matter. She said it really doesn't matter.
Technically, it needs a closet.
They
But you can
changed
call it a
all
flex
the
room,
accounts,
something like that.
with the exception of the wire transfers, because they forgot that we do that one.
Yeah, and I would say.
Oh, so then we're
flex room
set
that was
for
formerly a
everything.
bedroom, and then
Yeah,
used to
so
explain,
what's the
like,
last
how big is it?
Yeah.
If you had to guess. Okay, so it's a decent sized bedroom that somebody could put a wardrobe in or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I would mark it as a flex room, but then you could just explain that you still, you had it as a bedroom, so.
Buy a wardrobe. and screw it to the wall. And it's technically a closet.
Well, that's a fixture. It has to stay, it's bolted to the wall. See where I'm going? I do see where you're
Well,
going.
we do have through the house.
Yeah.
That meeting, fire departments, do you realize if I do that, I have a meeting Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night?
Even if you
Yeah,
put
I
a
told them
closet
that.
that's like this in there.
Where
it
is the
still has
meeting?
your bed.
Get the Belgian.
That would-
town hall.
Why doesn't,
Probably
three
be-
Belgium girls, why don't one of them do it?
It's easy to build up. Yeah, it's an easy build out and,
I mean,
header or
that
whatever. and
just
just do it.
is a lot.
Because then,
Yeah, and they can post.
Then it's definitely-
Yeah, he wants to have it.
and the marketing is 3 bedrooms,
So that
2 bedroom
people
home,
show
there's
up
a lot to be
to,
sold.
Not a bad idea. I mean,
That's very good.
4-bedroom house, 4 bathroom.
And there's not a
That's
quorum
huge,
of any.
That's
It would be good to.
Stop.
be done.
I just, that's a lot.
Broke
For
in
one
last
meeting.
night.
Yeah,
one of the bedrooms.
yeah, I'll get a hold of them, I'll tell them it's,
Nice.
you're pretty well booked up for the.
The hell is that? Big.
I would have, I mean, I
Caterpillar?
don't have
It was on my son's list.
anything on my calendar, so to speak. I know that,
Yeah, well, it's not the day before you.
right, other than, it'd be nice to spend one night at home. How are you?
3 minutes.
So anyway, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think Joe will show up.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
I passed
Oh,
on the
well,
resolution. I forgot.
First response.
What time?
And of course, it leaked all over my line before, and I didn't realize it until the next day, so water was sitting behind it. That looks really cool, isn't it? No, it's really not. So, that's fun. Of course.
Mike
Dable is not going to be here, and neither is Brian Wicker.
So now-
Yeah, Brian wasn't
so
gonna
now
be
I'm
here.
out of beer fridges.
He's
Mine.
busy too.
Yeah, and Mike came down with a cold. which
Oh, it's
doesn't
another
really
one,
take
you know.
chances at this point, and doesn't feel good, so.
That's
So that's
great.
fun.
You gotta
Very
report,
stressful times at the
Huh?
Durfee household.
you gotta report it now.
Not so much on my place
Yeah.
putting beers, now I don't have anything cold. Bourbon.
There's a number of,
It's not having lights.
in the ordinance, it goes from gift to give, to give, to gift, to give.
Oh,
So
did
back
I?
and forth.
I
I don't know
tried
if
to
that
type
was
that pretty
spell
fast.
check or whatever.
A little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll go through it again and reread it.
See the water?
But
Yes,
I
we do,
had to
bud.
do it pretty quickly.
There's another word in there too.
In the vapor or vapor thing, or in what? The vapor thing you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. You just proofread it, they'll jump out at you.
Okay. Yeah, I had to do that pretty quick to get it
I don't know what
included.
it is, the official gift or give,
Just talking about their guns.
the official word.
I don't know. I have to read it,
If
see
they
what the,
gift it or give it. May both mean the same thing,
I have to see what
but it should be
the
consistent.
text content is. And then I'll look at what Mike gave me
Is that pattern off
for Washington.
of ports? Yeah, or we'll just go with what they.
Okay. What time is it?
we
We have
gotta
to fix that clock, so it's the right time.
Hurry up and get this rodeo over with.
Yeah.
It is 7:00 PM. I will call the report to order. First order of business is the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. All right, we have a consent agenda. It's the bills and minutes. Do you want to count that one as a new bill?
I don't have anything on it yet.
Or you didn't have paperwork on it?
I
Okay.
have, the
Yeah,
only
no.
paperwork I have done is this paper.
Yeah, we are, the payment for the bond, which nobody was thinking about, was due June 1st.
Which the email came through.
And if you've been following emails, that was pointed out the very day after we could have paid it. So we got Melissa set up at the bank, authorized to do wire transfers, and I have to go out sign it first thing tomorrow, and then they'll shoot the wire transfer. So we'll be a couple of days behind.
It'll be paid tomorrow. A wire transfer is instant, so
Yeah.
it will be paid tomorrow.
I expect that there's a process that we're gonna have to go through. We went, searched through the office and found something from Baird and got the phone number and contacted somebody from Baird, which kind of walked us through what we had to do. And we did all those things. And the only thing was the approval. So we'll probably owe a couple of days interest or something like that. You know, money is not forgiven. So that bill will show up on the next board agenda. But it will be paid tomorrow. So then the consent agenda includes everything, the minutes and all the bills except for that one. That's right. That's a budgeted payment anyhow, it's authorized bond payment, so we don't have to approve it before it's paid.
I would also like to make a comment on the board of review minutes, after they were dispersed as they are. If some people like to have them verbatim, I did not do them verbatim. It is not a requirement. I do have the recording saved and available if somebody should challenge that.
And I think that we all saw that was being done during the board of review while we were here.
All right, consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda with the additional bond and a note that for the board of review, the verbatim minutes are recorded.
Those are done already, okay?
I don't have verbatim minutes. I just have the recording saved.
So you would like a verbatim copy?
No, noting in this approval.
That the verbatim is
The
saved.
verbatim copy is available electronically.
Oh, okay.
I will second.
All right, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, open session for citizens' questions and comments. Yes, ma'am.
I myself, I have this for a few years. One week in Freedom Park, Village Hall. It was not very, which has that compliment to our community. And I was very upset because I don't have any family members that distant homes, but as far as family members in the military, I only had one post and he did not pass. But any of the family members that were here from the or friends and all, I can't even mention how they were there. Not just.
Don't you sub out that lawn care for here? Because it did look bad. I got 4 generations of military service, but that doesn't matter, but it did, even up at the park. I saw Roger working late up there, up at the church, cutting with the push mower and stuff like that. So I don't know what it was.
But it, you know, it should have been planned, it should have been organized. It, maybe even just giving us some more legal to get. I'm sure there are some people that have to retire. And at least the front lawn up here,
I agree with
but,
you.
it was very disappointing that other people also had to see that. And looking through some of the information ordinances and stuff, we have an e-commission.
Mhm.
I was curious about that. There's more commenting here in the ordinances. It's probably public works. That the president. Please, that position. So, I'm not sure if you would explain it better than some of this.
Yeah, we would have to talk to Roger and find out what the influences were that didn't shake out enough time to get those two lawns cut.
I mean, even if guys aren't working, or it's half days on Fridays, I
Mhm.
get it, but somebody holds responsibility of them looking. And I was just wondering.
Yeah, that we'll have to get from Roger. I know you couldn't see the grass behind the dandelions. It just, it looked as you described it.
And somebody mentioned to me that somebody took their lawn and not through the market this month.
They might have cut the parkway or something.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
what somebody just mentioned, somebody was out there for the lawn. Just
On Monday night,
some individual.
because when I went by Tuesday morning on my way to work, I thought, oh man, that looks bad. I didn't notice that it had been cut.
I don't know who it was that
So,
they did it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it seemed like a path that was kind of weird.
Oh, well, yeah, just once.
Yeah, I didn't see.
So I guess I'd like to know what happened.
Well, and I think as others are saying, I think we really need to figure that out from the person that would have been responsible for scheduling that, and that the person's not here at the moment,
Right,
so
so
I,
I
yeah.
look forward to the future.
Sure.
Shirley, will you leave me your phone number or your email? 627?
Yeah, when we find out, we'll give you a call, let you know. I hate to speculate because I always end up in trouble, if I don't get everything right and stuff, so. But we'll figure out. And thanks for bringing that to our attention, even though most of us saw that. All right, is there anything else? All righty. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to report of operations. We had a lateral main break on Housecroft Station. And we found out that it was contractor error. He hooked a lateral when they were moving the curb stop in for the sidewalk. And nobody realized it until they started backing up. So they were there today. We called them, they were here within an hour and dug the hole and put a chunk in and now I'm not sure if it's so. She should be happy and the kids should be happy. That's all I have. Report from Village Marshal is in your packet. Michael Abel has a cold and he decided it would be better if he didn't stop in. Any questions on that report?
Would you like to read that? Could you read that?
It's statistics.
you could,
Take a look at it, but I can leave that back because there's stuff on the other side.
All right, then we'll move on to fire chief's report. He is not here, but he has an example of the, later on in the, we can cover that when we get to it, I would imagine.
Brian did ask me to request that a finance meeting and a public safety joint meeting be scheduled very soon to go over that application. He did email everybody, I believe, his preliminary version, and we need to get that finished, so.
The gentleman that wrote the letter, was he the one that drafted the grant, correct?
Correct.
From county? He had 750 on there, and then, not that that matters, but there's 730 that they're looking for.
Mhm. Well, that's what fit into the budget.
That's probably not official. That was a letter to us, I would imagine, right?
Right.
Yeah, they were kind of round numbers. It's a combination of what we contribute to the fire and EMS from the village, from levy, and what the grant will add up to. And staying under those parameters.
I can make you a copy if you want. So who's the chair of finance and public safety?
Ian, Bruce.
Do you want to get a hold of Brian and get some dates worked out? And
Could we have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a week for that or something, or 5-day notice? The meeting, if they're gonna call one.
Well, Rick's going to get a hold of you, and you two are going to schedule a date with Brian. The three of you are going to set a date.
Yeah, there you go, in that email.
Don, did you talk to, not to get off track here, but I mean, this kind of goes along to it. Did you talk to Tom Winker yet? Did he call you?
We got a meeting scheduled for the 14th of June.
Yep.
With all the chief executives from all four. So that's gonna come up. We want to post that. We want it a public meeting. And we want
That's gonna be in
one of
Belgium.
Flag
the,
day.
one of the clerks to take minutes so that we have records and whatnot.
That's gonna be up in Belgium, right? Or we didn't, he said up in Belgium, but I don't know. if that-
At Belgium Town Hall.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I asked Melissa, and she's swamped, and figured we asked the Belgium clerk, they've got 3 people in the office, so.
So-
I said I have 3
So we
meetings.
want, so we want to have a finance, public safety before that.
Mhm, yeah.
What is that?
That's the 14th of June. That's
Yeah,
Tuesday,
we're
Tuesday,
meeting
right?
14th.
Yeah.
It's basically to kind of see who is going to get along, who's going to go along with agreements and how they'd like to, to kind of hash out from the government standpoint.
Right.
So everybody's aware of what's all going on.
That's at 6, right? He said. 6 o'clock.
6.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's an open meeting, so anybody can come.
Yep. Anyone can come.
Okay, you want to deal with it now, or do you want to wait till it comes up in the agenda? The grant submittal, whether he has some questions of us and of finance and kind of fill in the blank questions, numbers.
It's not on the
It's
agenda.
not on the agenda.
It's
but-
not, it's on the separate email. We could probably go to that separate email.
I don't know if that's a discussion to be held at our board meeting. I think it's a discussion to be held between Brian and,
Okay, yeah, that should probably be best handled then. Finance first, finance and public safety first, and then recommended to the board.
correct.
All right, that's on a separate email. Any questions of the?
Director.
Okay, he doesn't have a report. Director of Public Works report.
So Roger really didn't give me a whole lot to say. I do know that the North Wilson Road project, the sewer contractor will be in next week. Start with that and it'll take about 2 or 3 weeks to finish that up.
Mhm.
That's all I really know I got was open to say.
Yeah, okay.
I know Roger's not here, so I'm not gonna try and pin you down or anything, but I mean, any reason why, I mean, this has been pushed back quite a few times with the sewer contractors. They were supposed to be here last week, and they were supposed to be here this week, and now they're coming.
I don't have a reason, I'm not really sure why, but I.
Yep.
They said they're gonna be here, they were supposed to start last week, they were supposed to start this week.
Yep.
Now we do have a set, apparently there's a set date for something. So
Okay.
I don't know their reasoning behind it.
Well, like I said, I know it is what it is kind of deal, but I know a lot of people are getting tired of the dust and on their cars and houses and driveways. And so I'm hearing it all. I'm sure you guys are too, but so just kind of curious on what their reason was. 'Cause I know things have changed and everything's fluent, but it seems like they said they're gonna be 1 week and then nope, we're gonna be in the next week. And then, so I'll have to ask Roger, but just was curious if you,
Yeah, I don't really know what the reasoning is behind it. It's-
You could call them up and jack them up on the phone or.
yeah.
Sometimes things will do that. If you're not ready when they have it scheduled, they'll leapfrog a job and do that first and come back to you. So there may be something like that as well.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you
All
very
right, thanks
much.
very much. The rest of his report is in there.
Brandon, what do you know about Hillcrest finishing roads? I see they're doing work up there, but there's 3 houses that
Yes,
are sort
so,
of done and apparently people moved into one of them.
yes, I did see that this morning, me and Rick were out on the end of North Milwaukee. And they were there yesterday and the ground was too soft. So they're gonna take some more grade out and add some more gravel. That's all I know.
Is that a cul-de-sac up there, or is
No.
it supposed to be, or is it just a dead end road?
As of
For the
right now, as
future.
far as I know, it's just a dead end road.
Yeah, that'll be eventually a through street all the way up to Willow.
Yeah,
That's our main north-south artery.
yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah, they had some tests that they had to do with, they load up a dump truck, drive around the road and they failed the test. So they had to take some more. Last time I talked to the excavator, they were gonna take part of the road that's in there and start moving it over to where it's supposed to be. So,
All right, any other questions? We will move to clerk treasurer. There is a renewal for our insurance. Along with that. Do you want us to make selections
What do you mean selections?
in the,
In what?
well, towards the end of it, there,
On the insurance, I don't think we can make selections. I think it's. either-
well, there's coverage questions.
I think if you have coverage, we'll have to contact Eric and have them answer them. I think this is what we have.
Too much pollen in the air.
These are the coverages we have now and what the cost to
I have
renew is.
questions about it. We have locations 18 and 21. Wrong addresses on them.
And the properties?
Yes,
Location 18. 13 Fillmore Street,
no, 18. 21.
location 18.
Yeah.
Is 13 Fillmore Street. Location 21 is 818 Fredonia Avenue.
That's right. Oh, one thing. Yeah. No, location 18 is 13 somewhere,
Mhm.
and that's in Stony Creek Park, so it should be like 131 there.
Okay, so they missed a warrant.
Yeah. And 21 is a Veterans Park gazebo, which is 818 for only having 118 or something.
They're 8-1.
Oh, okay, that could be. What is one gazebo? Is there?
Just as 818 Fredonia Avenue property in the open.
That's what I was gonna say too. is
Oh,
that-
yeah. Are you talking south of Stony or
I don't know.
The
The gazebo-
gazebo would be Veterans Park. but it's either, I'm not sure it's-
Yeah,
well, that's 118 next to me on the other
Yeah,
side of the
yeah.
parking lot.
That's the 100 block.
but the
I think.
gazebo's over. I mean, recross.
Yeah, it would have to be the right side of the street. 118 Fillmore Street, it's right next to Barrel Park.
They're talking about location 21. Listed as 818 Fredonia Avenue, Veterans Park.
Yeah.
Which is the correct address for Veterans Park.
Right,
The question is the gazebo.
yeah,
Oh, you mean the sale in Freedom Park?
Thing says Veterans Park gazebo.
yeah, and then down by recross. Park.
Where are you that it says Veterans Park? Gazebo?
Here, right here.
Yeah, Veterans Park gazebo. Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking at a different listing.
No, that's legal.
There's no gazebo.
Just in the third column of the table.
Yeah, Veterans Park gazebo.
Sorry.
Wonder if they're calling the sale a gazebo. Because there's nothing but flight poles. at
Yeah.
Veterans Park. And some play equipment.
Well, either way, we'll have to go through this and make sure our addresses are correct, but
Okay, and then I have two more questions. There's a driver schedule or part-time employee supposed to be listed on
I was gonna look at that question.
that. Okay. And then
Because like, should I be on there? Because I do drive Roger's car occasionally.
I would
not
think
very
so.
often, But
Yeah. And then does the insurance carrier know we have cameras at some sites? Is that good? Lower the rates perhaps? We have cameras at the wastewater plant, water tower,
Mhm.
and the DPW garages. They count.
okay,
Yeah, that should be checked
I
Yeah.
can check
to
that.
see if they're rated correctly.
So we have them at water, DPW, and the
Wastewater treatment plant and water tower.
water tower. And treatment plant. Okay. I'll check to see if that will make a difference.
Yeah, Freedom Park isn't listed, will that be listed as property?
Oh, right. Yeah, park. But the canopy is listed.
Yeah, that would that be personal property or would that be a structure? I would think structure.
Some canopy. Veterans Park gazebo, that's item 21. No, that's, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's got the wrong address on it.
So do you? Do you? Veterans Park gazebo, would it be just, that's supposed to be Freedom Park. Yes, so
There's a gazebo down at the Cross Park. It formerly was at Veterans Park, right? Yeah, and we moved down there.
So I should say this is,
Is it down there? Okay, I'm sorry, it was at Freedom Park. Gazebo was at Freedom Park.
so this gazebo, from the Veterans Park gazebo just doesn't exist, right?
No,
That,
That's the one that the school built, right? The school kids built that? That's one that the school kids built a number of years ago and put there for us, yeah. And we had Santa Claus in there
Okay.
one year. So then they moved that, and that's down at Meek House?
there's one down there.
So then we're not covering the structure at Freedom Park at all. It's not listed.
yeah, I don't see anything for,
Is their property after that?
Well, I'm sure that's minor change that can be made.
Well, and I know it's not completed yet either, but are the bathrooms gonna, the new bathroom that's going up, is that gonna be on there?
Yeah. I would imagine.
So it sounds like we've got a little bit of work to do that way.
So when does this have to be approved by, I
Right.
guess? Does it have to be approved tonight or?
well,
It's
the policy term is
June.
June 1st.
June. Is it
June
June
1st,
1st or
yep.
July 1st?
June 1st. So, you know. I mean, I'm sure we have a little bit of leeway, but it is June 1st to June 1st.
Yeah, well, we can amend it too. We can renew it and then amend it once we get all of this stuff straightened out.
When did we put the structure in Freedom Park?
3 years ago.
Because, I don't know what page this is, because nothing's page numbered, but it has a shade structure that was put in 2018
Yeah.
in the coverage, so it is there.
Okay,
It
it's
does
just
have
not
a
listed.
value, it just
It's just
wasn't
not
listed
listed.
on that one.
I really don't want to get off track tonight, but I am curious. Do we always just go with this company or do we ever have a broker that shops this out for us?
Occasionally, we have the last couple of years. You gotta do that every so often, keep them up.
Last year, they did a kind of after the fact comparison for you guys. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do, right. I
this,
do remember
this
that.
was the lowest
Yeah.
cost provider. I believe it's EMC Insurance, correct? And they are typically the lowest cost for municipal coverage. Not,
I get that. I just like seeing multiple options.
but I think it was 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago. I did ask if you wanted to see different options and you guys said you would waive it this year because it would be so time consuming to do.
I actually do remember you saying that.
So, I mean, I can definitely put them on alert that we have to do it next year and make sure we get an earlier start on it.
Well, I mean, I guess the only reason I bring it up is this is through Yancey and Associates, but they are an insurance agency. I'm talking about like having a third party shop out insurances.
Besides ANSI. you mean?
Yeah. Not saying I got anything wrong with Yancey, but I mean, it's just an idea. That way there, they come to us
Yeah,
because
they could be a little selective in their compromise. Yeah. Nice to have a disinterested party look at it.
I'm just saying in that way there, they can contact us when it's like your, your term's up, coming up. Because this always seems to, with their insurance, it seems like since I've been on the board, it's like we get right to the meeting date when it's got to be approved and then we're approving it and we move on. And I can't remember, I don't remember exactly what happened, why it was questioned last year.
It was the same thing. We just,
I thought it was something with that mercury spill though. Then we brought it up like, maybe we should take a look at our have another insurance company take a look at it. I could be wrong, but regardless. I'll move to make a motion here to approve the workman's compensation with the correct items adjusted. Or items adjusted correctly.
Are you moving to renew everything or just the workers' comp?
The workers' compensation. Or whatever, for the renewal for village vehicles, property and workman's comp.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions on that? We'll have to put a red flag in your date book or something for a couple of months prior to the next, and then we can,
I think if you want a full comparison, we should start working on it as early as right after the snow season, because it's gonna take a lot of
Mhm.
Roger's time, but it's gonna take a lot of time to go through all our projects. So
Right.
as early as February, we
Right.
should be getting on that.
okay, leave yourself a note, bring it to our attention again. Alrighty, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Anything
Newsletter?
else for the clerk?
yeah.
Newsletter, can I send it
Yeah.
out? Does it look good?
I
Are we
would,
excited?
I saw it. I think it looks pretty good.
Is there anything listed? I know we talked last meeting about the sewer backup. I didn't see that in there though. Am I missing it?
In where?
Yeah, I want to put that on the agenda for us to discuss and
Yeah.
make a.
I thought
A
that was
decision.
discussed.
I think what we were gonna do is we
It
wanted
wasn't on
to,
the agenda, so we couldn't act on it.
I think we wanted to update our ordinance and make sure that we had that all cleaned
Yeah.
up before we sent out a notice. That's what we.
Yeah,
agreed
we
on
want to
last
make
time.
sure the policy was good and in place before we
Yeah.
blasted it.
Then we can give notice.
Not this again, but I thought it was in our ordinance. That's what we talked about. Right? We went around what our ordinance says.
Well, it could use a little clearer language.
I get that, but I just feel like if we're not gonna act on it now, I don't know when we're ever going to. It's just gonna slide out of the way because it's over and done with. I mean, I literally thought that was the thing that we were going to put it in the next newsletter going out, that it was going to be mentioned that we're not covering sewer backups any longer. And I really think if we don't get it in here, we're really opening ourselves up for a potential can of worms here. Me personally, that is what was discussed. And we can pull the minutes on that if we wish, or what the motion was, but that is what was discussed, motion upon and passed by a 4-3 vote.
You're gonna be talking to Nancy about insurances. Why can't they look at that again?
But I know that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the insurance. We flat out sat here at the last meeting
We acted on it.
and acted on it and said that it was going to be in the next agenda, or not the next agenda, sorry, in the newsletter that was sent out. We were gonna send some out to the residents, to let them know.
Here's what it says in the minutes.
Yeah, we got a consensus.
Current ordinance need to be reviewed and updated. Notification needs to be sent to residents regarding private insurance.
I mean, I'm totally fine with adding something in there, just saying that, residents should. I suggested that residents get their own insurance for sewer backups. I mean,
Right, because regardless of what our ordinance says, it's gonna say we're not gonna cover it.
Mhm.
is that,
In order
Which
for
it
us
already
to act
does, but-
officially on that and determine to do that, it has to be on an agenda.
we already did that, is what he's saying. So we already said that in our last meeting that we should notify residents. So we've already approved it. Why couldn't we add it to the newsletter that we're sending out? Because we haven't sent one out yet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not in the newsletter now yet because we hadn't acted on it.
We did.
We discussed it and we arrived at a consensus that yes, that's what we want to do. And it didn't appear on this agenda.
No, but isn't that what John was
John,
just
what were
saying in
you
the
just
minutes,
reading?
that we said that we were going to notify?
This was after, according to this, after the vote was taken. There's a note, current ordinance need to be reviewed and updated. Notification needs to be sent to residents regarding private insurance.
So
I don't think that we need to.
two people contacted me about putting that in the newsletter, and then we kind of decided to discussions, we would wait till the ordinance was reviewed and updated before we did it. I can take out this little square and put something in
Hmm.
pretty easily, but we don't want to add a whole nother page for just a board.
Right.
And it's like set and it's pretty and it's.
It is very pretty. I do enjoy it. I've read through it.
Yeah, Roger had been gone 2 of the last 3 weeks, so there wasn't a lot of time for him to prepare language for an ordinance and a recommendation. So,
I mean,
But
you tell me what.
Can't we
you-
just say something in a newsletter, just saying that, not that, we're not making any decisions as to, we're saying we're doing this as far as buying insurance or not covering or covering, can't we just say something in the newsletter that says highly encourage that residents consider getting insurance for sewage backup? That's something that we can't,
we could do that.
that's what I think I'm saying.
Okay, I'll remove the email option for water bills and add sewer backup insurance.
Yeah, just maybe send that language out to us just or whatever, but I mean, I don't think a newsletter is something we need to approve, I think, as long as there's something in there.
Then Roger can fix the ordinance. ASAP.
Yeah, we'll have to do that
Stating
anyway.
everything.
That we have to do, right.
Yeah.
Which would probably be the easiest fix ever, to probably just say absolutely instead of not.
We really mean it this time.
All right, well, that would be a staff decision to put that in rather than the water bill thing.
Who wants to review the language before I send it out, or are you giving me freedom?
Just don't call anybody names, you know?
Well, send it to everybody if you get no comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously,
That's
it'll be
true.
on Monday, so.
All right,
All right,
all right, anything else? We will move to the county supervisor's report.
Yeah, one thing I do want to bring up to the board's attention and the individuals that are here, I say this facetiously, but I really mean it, like, reach out to your supervisors and other supervisors at the county, because there's a resolution that came up yesterday that was an ordinance or a resolution that states that Ozaki County would not accept any outside donations from any person and or political affiliation or any group to hold election, whether that's for equipment or anything related to the election. And that got tabled till the July 6th meeting by a vote of 17-7, which I thought was kind of sad. I thought that'd be something we could pretty much everyone agree upon, regardless of political party. There should be no money coming from any outside influences to Ozaki County to help with any kind of election or assistance with any kind of election. So I am obviously in support of not, I mean, that we should not be taking any money. Ozaki County should not. So I was one of the 7, and I'm going to vote for that again on July 6th. But just if you get a chance, send out a mass email to all county supervisors, say that you're in support of this, because I'm just shocked that we couldn't get it done yesterday. I thought it was pretty simple that everyone could agree upon, regardless of what political party you stand on or viewpoints, but I guess not. So we'll try again in July. So I think that's very important with everything that's happened in the past here and how we've got to this point. So I think that has to be done.
Yeah, I don't think Ozaki County got any sucker bucks.
No, I don't think so, but
I
it
don't
just,
think we would either.
How does that, where does that money go? I mean, not to any particular party, just into the county
Yep.
for election purposes.
Yep. and it can come from anybody, any group, anywhere. So.
All right, anything else?
Nope, that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Report from personnel committee.
Personnel met, again, discussing part-time versus full-time position, what the hourly rates would be. Overall cost with WRS, and basically we need to get a future agenda. We need to meet with the finance and personnel committees to have further discussion on that. Find out what we can do and try to set forth a game plan moving forward. We also discussed employee benefits. Plan to do a cost study, cost is minimal, it's $25. Just see if this, what exactly it's all gonna entail, how much it's gonna cost each individual as well as the village itself. So we plan to do that moving forward. I don't know if it's been set in motion yet. Sure. That pretty much took up a majority of the meeting. So.
For pretty much all background stuff and, yeah. Yeah, we have to find out what dollars are available and likely to be available before we start advertising.
Some of the
Positions.
discussion was we're going to be limited to what we can do with things moving forward with full-time EMTs and what's happening there. It's obviously going to take a big bite of what we have to do as well.
All right, any questions on that? Okay, we will move to Park and Recreation and Tech Committee meeting.
Yeah, we met last week. And we met down at Fireman's to take a look at what our space is there and how much, where we're gonna put things, and really productive meeting. I think we're almost set. We have one more meeting before the event. Donations are coming in, so it's gonna be pretty exciting. Marketing material should start going out this week or next. So watch for that, and then, yeah. It's basically all we really talked about, how we're getting power out there, where we're gonna put things, and moving forward.
When the next meeting is.
It's in my notes that I haven't gotten to yet.
All right, any questions on that?
John, looks like you've got a question.
Mhm.
No, I think it's at 7 PM on Wednesday, the 15th.
7 PM, Wednesday, the 15th. You heard it, man.
There's an architecture review board meeting with me.
That's at 6.
I know, I'm just saying.
So, we have that.
Thank you.
June
All right, anything else?
15th.
15th at 7.
Yeah.
I'll just put that in my little book so I can do the agenda.
All right, then. Items for discussion or action. Motion for resolution to express our appreciation to Joe Bertram for her many years of service. Did you have a copy of it?
I think there's
So the printed copy is the correct copy and not the one that.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
well, this one.
yeah, this,
I don't think she's never.
Well, she told me she served on all of these.
Plus what,
Okay,
she's been on plan for the architect board
okay.
since about 2006, because I've been on it since then.
And she was never severed either.
She's never what?
Says she was severed as a member of.
Served.
served. Was
served.
there a typo in that?
Yeah, right here.
Oh.
Served.
Yeah.
Escalated quickly.
Okay, but she's been on for 14 years.
She's been on a long time.
Well, I
She hasn't
remember-
been on Architectural Control Board or Planning Commission,
No,
ever.
I've been on that longer. than
No,
that.
that's a
She's never
citizens
on those
committee.
meetings. Those
Okay,
are citizen point.
okay.
As I remember her being on Public Works, Finance, Public Safety, Personnel, and Parks. And she's been Chair of Personnel, Chair of Parks.
What about economic development?
She was she on with TJ?
That was a pretty dead committee for years, so I don't know.
No, she wasn't on there with TJ. When
Yeah, I
TJ
don't
wasn't
recall.
here, it was me and you down that way on that board.
Didn't you have, did you copy the right one or didn't we have,
I know she was chair on utilities.
yeah, she was on Utilities and then Public Works when we had a split committee.
Yeah,
We had one on here served on a number of committees and was the chair of
She said that one was wrong.
Oh, she said that one was wrong.
So I just went with generic, as she served as chairperson or a member on all the committees. Rather than pointing out which one she was chair and which one she was just a member. Kind of generalized it a little bit, since nobody here really has the history. And I couldn't find any history in the file. in the office.
Basically, everything after the parking lot needs to be struck.
Yeah, that's why I was questioning economic development. I don't know about that.
Oh, she didn't like all of the, on most of the committees and was the chair of several during her tenure. She didn't like that language.
No, she said we didn't have the right ones.
Well, rather than put ones in there, we'll put no ones in there and substitute was the chair, served on many committees and was the chair of several, on most committees and was the chair of several during her tenure.
That's kind of what I have. Served
Well,
as
you're
chairperson
naming-
or has served as a member on these committees.
Yeah, well, then we've got 3 mistakes in there. And we can't tell for sure if it was economic. We should genericize, is that a word? We should become generic with this entire paragraph.
Making up words again, Don.
Genericized.
Just kind of like parallel
Use
whatever
it.
the other night.
More
Well, let's
better.
just,
Because
I
she
don't
served
think-
on just about every committee,
and that's what I
and
was
she's
told.
been
so
the
I
chair
listed all
of
the
a
committees.
number of them during her tenure. She was chair of Parks a couple of years ago. We can do this. The house isn't burning. We can do a rewrite of this and bring it back.
You just tell me what you
Rather
want me to
than
do.
creating language.
I
on the board
actually
first.
dug out the minutes from 14 years ago to make sure when she got put on, because nobody knew exactly when she got put on. So,
Yeah,
I want to take a pic.
when Chuck was village president. Or no, when Short was village president. She was on the board.
Joe joined us.
Yeah.
And Joe's.
She did like a 2 or 4 year term about the year 2000. And then was back on about 2008 or 10.
correct.
Yeah, she
You
was,
are
she
correct. And
was
the 2 years prior that she served and then she was off, we didn't even include those
Yeah.
2 years.
from 1997 to 9. I know she was on. I think she may have been on 2 years later. She said, no, she was just 1 term. And then she came back on during
14 years.
the Short administration. And that was before, Short had 2
Yeah.
terms, Chuck had 2 terms,
Yeah.
and then I came on after Chuck. So it's either 2008 or 2009, one of the 2.
So I think we'll revise this and bring it back. to the board.
Yeah, we'll revise this and bring it
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Motion to refer to staff for corrections.
We have to make a motion for it.
Okay, I have a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a good motion.
Staff work updates.
Okay, do I have a second?
Josh,
Second, I guess.
Just made that. You want to second it, John?
Oh, I didn't hear. Sure.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Well, that was a lot more difficult than I expected. Yeah, details, devils in the details. All right, motion to approve ordinance 22-3, sale and gift possession of electronic smoking devices. Now, this is the first viewing of this. We can waive and vote on it tonight because it's agendized for us to be able to do that. Or we can read it over, make sure what we want.
Well, I have a question. Towards the bottom, there's the capital letter F. I don't think I'm paying for cigarettes in the village property anymore. That's what it says. You can't have smoking materials on village property.
Well, I should quit anyhow.
Yeah, but That doesn't sound. And I know, like, we were having a family picnic down at Stony Creek Park, and all my nephews uses a vape vapor,
Mhm.
and you know, it's under the canopy.
Mhm.
Well.
Well, if they're 18 or above, this is just for 18 and younger, or under 18.
That says no person. It doesn't say under 18.
Yeah, that stuff is, 18 is spoken part at a different point. This looks like anybody. I'm not for smoking, but I don't think we should restrict this that way.
So
A lot of
I-
times the vape pens are a lot worse than cigarettes.
Yeah.
To me.
And they have a couple of except as modified in this sections. I think you have to refer to a number of different sections to get the true meaning on some of these points. And some of them rely on state stats. And I'm not saying that's, that's not something we should check, but anyhow, this is the first viewing. If you want to have us go in more depth and look this over with Marshall Dale and make sure that we have everything in here correct.
Marshall Dable said this is, well, he gave us this ordinance. Of course, it's copyrighted from Port Washington. It is the ordinance they have on file. It is the ordinance that Port Washington filed.
So they issue tickets and
I don't know if they issue tickets,
so it's a,
but it
Oh,
is the
then
ordinance
Port-
that Port Washington follows to enforce it in their schools and on their grounds. And it would give Fredonia, I keep doing that, give Fredonia the capabilities of enforcing it
premises.
as well.
That after, it isn't right.
I agree with that.
But in there, doesn't it say, third line? But no, go back to where you were. Electronic smoking devices in or on a building.
Yeah.
Building premises.
Yeah, in the building or on the premises.
But there's no building on a park.
Now, do
Yeah, but
all of these
if there's
points,
cigarettes in this building, you're in violation whether you're smoking or not.
yeah, well, we can't smoke in this building.
did the.
Can't even possess it.
Yeah, you can't smoke, but you can't even possess it.
They're not doing
I read through that and it says something about
This is what the.
points
this is
below.
what the county adopted. This
That's
is
why I'm
what-
wondering about the structure down at Stony Creek Park.
So that's what Mike must have.
Well, and if it says on premises, that would be in the
Yeah,
parks
he
as
didn't
well.
use the county one.
Well, then we're not ready to approve this yet. This is just our first view of it.
That's the only thing, right? It doesn't seem correct.
Why do you read that with first statute that simply restates the state statute? I know we talked about this in the last meeting, it makes absolutely no sense.
I think it's so the village marshal can enforce it.
We're partial versus speeding law, doesn't have necessarily.
Yeah, we,
We have our own ordinances.
State statute in a municipal ordinance?
Yeah. Parking even. Can't write a parking ticket unless our ordinance says you can't park there.
In our municipal ordinance.
probably,
well.
Whereas what in our municipal?
Murder. I'm serious, and I don't understand why we need to replicate everything at every level of government. It makes no sense. If so, I think we should just adopt the state statute, and say, all right, and be done.
Yes.
It makes no sense to me. Sorry.
Well, we have a part-time department and we're not always here. And when we're not have an officer aboard, then the county comes through. They cannot write a citation for underage smoking in the village because we don't have an ordinance that covers it. They can't write, their jurisdiction ends at the,
That's not what he
as
said.
far as writing tickets stuff. It's one of those type of things. It's a jurisdictional thing.
We're not an independent entity separate from the state of Wisconsin. You're an
No, we're
entity
not.
On top of the state
We're
of
not.
Wisconsin. Anyway, I'll let you guys sort that out, but legally, I don't understand that at all. I think of all the state laws that are out there, that we shouldn't have to replicate in our municipal ordinances. And you'll never keep up. There's an entire full-time legislative body writing laws at the state level. And you guys never keep up.
Well, it says as updated from time to time in a number of these things. When it depends on the statute, the state statutes, it has, we're doing this.
So,
What the statute says as updated from time to time. So if they change a law, it's automatically changed because we're referring to the latest
When
model.
it pertains to this, he's saying. all
right, so
kinds of-
what it comes down to, I guess, simply explain, this came from a county, and the reason this came up here is because I'm on the public safety committee at the county level, and they're having issues with vape pens at the high school. And so when the county comes, so they have what's called a home rule, which we have our own ordinances, we have our own things. So yeah, their jurisdiction ends at the village and starts with the county. So they wanted to, the county adopted something, but they can't write tickets at the high school because we don't have an ordinance that says that. So we have to adopt an ordinance in order for Ozaki County Sheriff's Department to write tickets, or the village marshal can write tickets. So this is coming directly from the sheriff of Ozaki County and the county administrator and the legal counsel corp. Because see, technically, this isn't even right, because Wisconsin hasn't adopted the federal age, which is 21. So we're still at 18, even at the state statute. So this still wouldn't be correct with the federal regulation. So until the state of Wisconsin changes theirs, it's 18, even though that's not what the federal statute says. So I agree with you. I mean, it's a lot of more laws on top of more laws, but that's what we're told. So then I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. So we might as well just put a policy in our ordinance, so we just have one.
I get that, and I mean, if that's the case, I would think that we would just have a statement at the beginning of our ordinance that says we adopt all Wisconsin state statutes except, and then we have our own set of things that we want to do differently, but I mean, maybe you guys have the time to keep up with 120 elected officials over in Madison, but I doubt it.
I agree.
And
I think it might go the other way. I think Mike can't write a ticket on a county ordinance,
Correct,
acting as a village.
correct.
So if he wants to write a ticket in the village for the county ordinance, we have to adopt the ordinance so we can write it according to our ordinance.
Correct.
I think I mentioned it backward before.
Yep.
Anyhow, that's the way it goes.
do we have an ordinance that prohibits use of marijuana?
To look it up. I don't know off the top of my head.
Or, I mean, I don't know, I'm just, I just, the whole concept makes.
All of those
I
are-
feel like we've got some-
I don't believe we need ordinances against capital crimes because that's a state issue, the state versus.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we're not either, but there is rhyme in the reason of it. At some point, it's not always easy to understand.
We do have an ordinance in here about drug paraphernalia.
It seems like a tough one to keep up with as well.
Well, sometimes it's that's a reference.
Oh, you're right.
Whatever.
All right,
So we know we need to make some modifications. This is the first viewing.
So are we gonna, is this guy go to a committee, or where does this go from here then?
this will go back to staff. Melissa's gonna have to talk to the marshal and find out how this stuff.
Why didn't we just take the county one that they had? Was there a reason? Did Mike say? Or do we know?
Mike
Probably
just-
because it's copyrighted.
Mike
It's
just sent me
probably a
the
work
one.
product of corp counsel, and you know how lawyers are, you can't write it verbatim because I did that with my corp, you gotta make up your own, whatever, change some words.
I get that, but I'm gonna make I'm gonna make a motion to send this back to staff, but I would like it compared to Ozaki counties.
Do you have a copy of Ozaki counties?
I can
We
get
can
a
get one,
copy, yeah.
yeah.
If you give me a copy, I can compare them and
Okay.
make the two work. I did say that this one was, that Port Washington was state accredited or something like that. And
Mhm.
this was, but I'll talk to Mike and we'll make revisions as needed.
Yeah, this whole thing is intended to address
They don't care.
people younger than
This here
18,
allows them to
younger than 18. So
find them.
there might be some
Right now,
verbiage
it's
in here
expensive
somewhere that
already. It's
everything
not
above
enough
or everything
school.
below refers to blah, 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 whatever.
Okay. I'll
That's
talk
what the
to him.
undersheriff.
Josh, you're gonna get me a copy of the other
I'll
one?
get you a copy.
Perfect, thank
All
you.
right, do I have a second on that motion?
I already seconded.
Oh,
Okay,
wait a minute, there was a motion. I missed it.
I made the motion.
Josh motion, Dan seconded to
Send back to staff.
refer back to staff. I
With-
didn't know that had to be done.
To look at not only this, what also compare with those Aki County ordinance that was passed.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Roger wants to know if he should cut the trees down in the outlot. Their picture is, 3 pictures at the end of your, and most of you are pretty familiar with how that looks up there.
Turns out like the 21 houses over there all own this outlot.
Yeah.
The village doesn't,
Yeah,
but there's one tree that's very tall, that could fall.
on this
Truck was a
street.
little bit more forward, it could fall on a truck on the road. The rider said they could top that because of safety.
So being wetland. or-
Yeah, they can get that in a
We'll have to
bucket
be
truck.
checked With the DNR as to what,
No, Roger said it's not a wetland, it's just,
It's just a wet piece of property.
it's an outlot,
Yeah.
not buildable.
Roger and I talked about it, and if we can do this in the winter when the ice is thick enough, they can get out on the ice and just drop all the trees. And everybody in that place, that whole subdivision probably has a fireplace or something. Whoever wants to, would can come it up and take it home.
Probably all rotted, but I would say.
But
either
our
way-
costs would have to
I
be
ain't
charged,
burning
assessed back to all those property owners. That's what needs to be
Because they may not
determined.
even know they own.
The property owners are responsible for that tree removal. Therefore, if we go in and do it, we are supposed to charge those costs back to the property owner.
We have no place to park those hours.
When that subdivision was built, like when I did my subdivision, we had an outlot and it basically was a water retention area.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much what that is. So maybe if it's the same company or whatever, clean it all out and make it presentable.
The company doesn't exist anymore that owns it.
Correct.
Mastercraft was, or what?
Yeah,
Well,
Mastercraft is the owner of record,
yeah,
and they're defunct, so.
Yeah, anything would look better than that and just topping off a tree, I
Well-
understand that may be something for parks.
No, it's not a park. It's not park.
I have a
Park says
chainsaw.
it's Orange Grove.
it's not village land.
We only have 4
That's an
village crew guys
association?
to.
Hmm?
Is it association?
It should be on people's deeds.
Yeah, everybody owns their
If
percentage.
when they did the title research, if they looked at this, it should be on their deeds, they know they own the property. And they also own another wall on the other side of the street. That's
Well, then they gotta maintain it.
Right, so where did this come from? I guess, how did this originate that these trees need to be removed if the property owners actually own these trees? Where did this come from all of a sudden?
Did we get a complaint from somebody that looked
Yeah.
ugly or something?
I thought
Yeah.
it was you that complained.
But I've heard from other people. homeowners.
We could send a group letter out to all 21 residents that live there and tell them that you are responsible for taking down these unsightly trees and dangerous trees and whatever. And give them 6 months to do
There's
it.
only one
And if
dangerous tree.
If they don't wanna do it, then maybe they'll just give us the land,
Well,
the village. does.
And we don't want the land.
Don't
Well, I
put-
don't know about that.
We don't want the land.
well,
Okay.
down by Guyan O'Neill, those last streets,
Like that.
just north of Guyan O'Neill, that subdivision was made with undersized lots because the developer couldn't possibly make money making full-size lots and full-size streets. So they own the streets, and then they gave the streets back to us
Yeah,
some years ago.
about 6, 7
Well,
years
this is
ago.
the same thing. If this is our land, now we gotta take care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, me too, pretty soon.
I think we need to notify the homeowners that they own this and then,
This sounds to me like something that Public Works should think about and logistics and whatever.
Roger says on this top, that one tall tree that if it falls, it would be in
Yeah.
the street.
They're all eventually gonna fall into the water anyhow. I'm surprised more of them haven't. But
I don't know, you might as well look at your.
Or we could send out 20 of them, 21 of them letters saying that this winter, when the water is frozen, if
Whatever.
you want to go out to.
What is our ordinance on this? I mean, we have an ordinance for grass height. Do we have an ordinance for?
We have an ordinance for dangerous trees.
But there's only one
Sorry.
dangerous tree.
Well, they're all in everybody's backyard too, so,
Yeah. But they won't fall under that here.
yeah, well, this is a committee discussion instead of a. board discussion.
Now, everybody knows about this,
Yeah,
that those folks, and it's.
and we have no
21
newspaper
houses.
here, no newspaper, that's when you want a newspaper, you can't get it.
Can you imagine 21 people trying to figure that out?
Can I have a motion to refer this to Public Works?
Make a motion to refer to public works.
Okay, I have a
Wait a minute, who
motion and a
seconded
second.
it? Thank you.
Rick.
15 people here.
So we have a motion on the table and it was seconded to refer this to Public Works. All in favor? Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Who
Okay.
made Josh and Bruce?
Gotcha, okay. All right, correspondence. Do we have any
We gotta wait
correspondence?
for Dan here to.
Dan wasn't even in here for the vote.
Sorry about
He was
that.
absent.
Dan, there was a motion to refer the cutting of the trees.
Yeah, you made the
to
motion.
Public Works.
Or Bill did, I think.
Yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay, 5-2. All right, then, backing any correspondence, we're in order to convene in a closed session to discuss personnel matters.
I'll make. a
Thanks for
motion.
stopping.
Motion to convene a closed session.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Josh and Dan. I'll start over here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion is adopted unanimously. We're in closed session.
All right, I'm stopping the recording.
Next. Okay, we have returned to open session. Next item on the agenda is items for future consideration by the board.
Yeah, I have something I would like to bring up. So I've been doing some digging since the last meeting we had, talking about these committee meetings and board meetings. And so I put together a calendar here and I started going through it. And me personally, that makes most sense. If we want to set up something consistently month to month, the only way that it can be done is by having one meeting a month. And it would have to be the fourth Thursday of the month. That's the only way everything works consistently. If we wanted to have set committee meetings.
So I've got some comments on that. We talk about set committee meetings, and I'm not sure that needs to happen for every committee. However, I guess I would be completely fine with if you're going to have a committee meeting that is not required on a monthly basis and more as an as needed, that it be on a specific day and time. Just, okay, for instance, personnel is not one that needs to meet every month. But if we need a personnel meeting, it's on the, third Thursday at 6 o'clock type, so that the calendar is okay there. Outside of that, one meeting a month for the board meeting, I think that the only way that that would work is if it ran a little bit more efficiently. And we could do some things like possibly set time limits on some of our discussions, to help keep us on topic. And two, I can't count the number of times we sat here till 10 o'clock at night, just going in circles about the same topic over and over. So I don't know how that would all work, but that's just my suggestion.
Now you gotta mix it up in the committee and do a recommendation and the board has to respect that recommendation.
Yeah, well, essentially all the work is done on the committee levels.
Right,
for the most part, but
The reason why it works out for the county real well is each supervisor is on only one committee. All of us trustees are on at least 3 committees.
Yeah, but they also, well, going off of that, you're right, but they also have, you're only allowed to speak twice on a particular item.
Well, we could do that. We have to recognize in Samantha.
Well, you only get to speak twice. And if you want to speak for a third time, you have to get 2/3 majority vote to speak for the third time. So I mean, that's something to look into too. You could speak twice on an item, 3 minutes apiece. And then that's it. Then you're moving on to the next thing. So yeah, you're right. And each person's on one committee, but even at the board level, someone can't go on and on and on and on and on. Or talk about, or go even off subject. I mean, I've seen that happen with I'm sure you have too, Don. I mean, with point of orders of, nope, now you're off track, point of order, chairman steps in, says, yep, you're off topic. That's it, we're moving on. So I think there's some things we can do that way. That's not a bad idea.
The only issue I have with village board meeting only once a month is payment of bills. I
Yeah,
have to
that's
pay
my
bills
first
more
thing,
than
too.
once a month. So how would that be handled?
So a good majority of those bills are all recurring bills, right?
Yes.
And there's some certain instances where they're not.
Yeah, electric bills and,
So all of that can be approved on a monthly basis, right?
Like, can I pay them and then you approve them? Or
we,
you,
we do that occasionally.
So again, all stuff that's really needs to be looked at, but as a board, there's no committee to send this down to. Where do we
Right.
actually have the discussions and weigh the pros and cons and act on it outside of maybe a committee of the whole or something to where this is.
That's
what we're
another
focused
meeting
on.
for a month then, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying in general, just to move forward with some of these topics, if we want to really take a true look at it. Where does that go?
It's gotta be a
We set
structure,
our-
it's gotta
we
be
set our
laid out.
budgets
with
for the- We set our budgets for the year. And then usually anything outside of that, if it's gotta be paid extra and it comes up, we usually talk about it at a board meeting before we even go ahead and pay anything.
Yeah, I guess what I'm really saying is like, for instance, when we switched to Tuesday nights, it was just some brief discussion at the board level and then we'd act on it, the following. This is something that obviously is gonna take some serious hard look at and some work behind before we make a change.
Well,
How do we move forward? with that?
I'm wondering, and this is kind of something that I brought up in the past too, is let's do the set committee meetings. Let's start there. Give that a
Yeah.
shot, try that for a couple months, see how it's going, and in the back of our minds go, okay, do we really, where are we? Melissa, you can even help us out with this. Where are we? Do you feel like we could have done this and try this more streamlined approach in our board meetings? And just try some of these things. And then if we think that, hey, maybe this is gonna work, then maybe we do what we did with the Tuesday meetings. We're gonna have a couple of months, call it, in the middle of winter or something, a couple of months where we're gonna try this one meeting a month thing and see what happens. And I think it's a slow progression.
Mhm.
You gotta start from the bottom up though, is what you're saying.
I'm all for that. The biggest thing I had, and I called, or I talked to Melissa about that. I only had a 2-day notice on the one parks and personnel meeting. And that wasn't enough time. And, if you do set a schedule for a meeting and like you said, the third Thursday of the month, then we know that. But even if it is personnel or parks that don't meet that often, parks are meeting all the time.
Well, no.
But right in winter, they won't.
Right.
Okay, but at least if I get a week or, a timely, at least a reasonable amount of time, if my son wasn't coming into town, I could have made it for sure,
Right.
but I was sitting at Mitchell Field,
Oh, we handled it.
but I didn't read the email. I got it on Tuesday and I didn't read it until Thursday night, actually.
And that happens, and we all have to remember that we all have lives outside of here too.
But,
In most cases,
4 days.
in most cases, there should be ample time on a meeting.
And I think like with the park stuff, Bruce, you'll see that the last probably month going back that we've done these, when we have been at the parks meeting, we've said, okay, our next meeting is going to be. So then 3-4 weeks ahead of time, and It's just, you just happened to fall in.
I was
that.
on one and I
Right.
didn't know nothing about what was going on.
Exactly. So, and that's through no fault of your own.
It's hard to jump in on something like that.
I agree with Dan, though, I think we should start with the committee thing, because me personally, even going to once a month, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm just saying, I think it's actually gonna help our budgeting process, because it's like you have a meeting at the committee. Is bring forward your budget to the finance committee approves a budget, it brings it to the full board. Instead of going back and forth. I mean, I personally think if we can start with the committees and streamline that approach, that will help this
I agree.
meeting move.
And that's more first in July.
Josh, I looked at the county agenda and packet. Finally had a chance to look at one. They have like a sheet
Mhm.
of, this is what I'm bringing to the board and this is what I'm looking for. I know we did those in Grafton as well. Is that something we want to start?
I think so.
You know, rather than just, oh, here's a
Printed
resolution.
recommendations.
Yeah, just, here's a background of what happened. This is what we're looking for. You know, here's the background.
Well, and
this is what
here's the
we're
thing, which we
looking
all know, right? And that's the thing that's been made very clear at the county level. You have to come prepared. You have to read all this stuff ahead of time. If you've got any questions, you have to reach out. You can ask questions. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not trying to make this a rubber stamp. We just stand here and prove it, approve it, approve. You can ask
We don't have to
questions.
reinvent the wheel.
Right, you can ask
You do
questions,
your homework,
absolutely.
you got enough information, it comes with your package, you get your packet early enough.
Yep.
You can read it all.
Right.
And understand. And
So when it comes, so like I said, we're not gonna run like the county, I get that, but it's like the county administrator does his report, we roll right in the resolutions, it's like this resolution's up, motion second, any conversations, no vote. And it just keeps, it's in your packet. You don't need the chairperson of that to rehash what was discussed, it's all written up in your packet, so it's up to my responsibility to read it ahead of time, and if I got any questions, I can ask them, or I can ask the administrator.
But then
Ahead of
it's
time.
all of our responsibility to get our notes in.
To get it
and
in on
everything, so
time.
Everybody has it so that they can.
And we don't need to have somebody read the minutes that's
Geez, I have
printed
a
that we have.
copy.
You know. If somebody has questions about the printed minutes and the whole deal, yeah, but if everything's fine and whatever, it's just, okay, we saw it. And we started doing this a couple years ago when we combined public works and utilities. They were kind of redundant committees and it would just cost 2 meetings
Mhm.
to hash the same thing, whatever, so we put them together, that's been working fine.
So should we, I think there'd be something something to do, and maybe July, start doing that. We may have our calendar for the next meeting, so does everybody think that this will work?
Yep.
And then if so, great.
We're all people of a committee.
Right.
I mean, who meets the most right now? Finance, public works, parks, public safety,
Architecture board.
architect, yeah, but that's already scheduled. They're already set up.
Mhm.
Plan
meeting.
commission and art board are already scheduled.
Right, those are already scheduled, but I mean, those are 4 meetings. Those are the 4 boards that probably meet the most regularly out of all the boards. we
Yeah.
got.
And that's, the trustees are kind of left out except for John, who's the liaison.
Yep.
So that kind of frees up.
So I agree with you, Dan. If we came back to the next board meeting, those chairs from those 4 committees could be like, yep, I want to try it on this date and this month, and we do it and see how it goes.
Knowing that well, and some of this will have to change probably because we still have 2 board meetings now, so we can't just fill in Thursdays, right?
Correct.
So I mean, for now, we'll just have to say, okay, we're meeting at this time, right? And then if we would ultimately go down to 1 board meeting a month, then we'd have 2 other days to fill in. So, yeah, I mean, I'm game with that. And that
I
can
said we
bounce
try it for July and August. Let's see. how- And then we're heading into budgets in September, so.
Right.
Oh, speaking of budget. The league has which I don't even know if it'd be worth going to, but they have a basics on budgeting thing. I think it's like $95. Can I do it?
Bring it.
Yeah, when is it?
Oh, for you.
I have to go get it. I forgot to bring it.
Put it on the next board.
Yeah, put it on the next agenda.
And I'm wondering if it's not something that wouldn't be covered in my clerk school. So I want to,
Oh, maybe.
so we don't spend the money twice.
You
I
wanna
want to
send-
look at
You wanna
that.
dig into the information, send it out to us at the
Yeah.
time, so.
I just saw it and I was like, ooh, and I forgot to bring it. Sorry.
The draft budget is essentially Rogers and Sandy's work and Brian and a couple other people. When you get it in finance, it's pretty much set up and it's your job to start pulling weeds. and
Pull a
whatever.
lot of
So
weeds.
That's gonna be effort that I think we're all gonna have to jump in on this thing.
All right, so I've got, if we're done with this discussion, I've got two other things that I want to go over real quick. So I finally did sign the,
Real quick now, so next meeting, we've all made the decision. At the next meeting, we're gonna try this. We're gonna put together something and. Okay, just so.
We're gonna have a calendar ready for
Yep.
the June fifth,
Yeah.
12th, 16th meeting.
Well, those bar
whatever.
graphs, we're gonna do this until this date, and then we're gonna do this date. This is
can you send
our
out a reminder email like the Monday of the board meeting week?
Yep. I didn't want to cut you off, but I just want to make sure we were all, okay, we're going there, so.
That'd be the 13th. If you could do that, that'd be great. So I finally sent back the website agreement, so that's signed and in there. The people from Civic Plus are looking to, there's two meetings that they want to schedule. One is a website content initiation meeting. Sounds fun.
Is it for tech committee kind of meeting?
Well, I think that I want to just, if this is okay with everybody, I'm thinking that, well, then again, we might end up calling meetings and stuff, but they want to schedule these meetings. They don't care who's there, how many people are there. They really want a point person. So when you fill out the thing, there's a point person that you put in, which I
Yeah.
put myself in. And Rick may have been second. So, but they want people to do these meetings with them to start coming up with these ideas. So anyway, I'm interested to know if anybody else would be interested. Of course, if there's more than one person from the board, then it becomes a meeting. So. don't
I
know.
sent you an email saying I wouldn't
did.
mind being part of it.
Right,
It
And
wouldn't,
did you look at some of those that he sent you,
no,
or did you not?
I haven't.
Oh, I looked at some of them and some I don't like, some I do.
Yeah, so that's where I'm kind of getting at. So the one is a content thing. It's like a 45 to 50, 60-minute Zoom meeting. And that'd be maybe Tuesday or Thursday of next week. And then it's one from David something or other. He wants to do another design meeting. So there's a content meeting and a design meeting. So the design meeting, he's looking to do next week, 6/8 at 9:30 or 10 a.m.
Ooh.
Right.
that jumps on the schedule.
So again, I'm gonna make it work for me one way or another. I'm just saying if anybody happens to want to.
I would get next to nothing out of that, so.
What day is it? Or you'll just let me know when you set it up.
Yeah, it's in the email that I sent you, 6/8. Looks like at one of those 3 times, so we can coordinate if it's just the two of us, that's fine. You guys are all okay with that. And then the other one, that's a 45 to 60-minute Zoom meeting, and they're looking. Well, they look like they can do that any day of the week next week, so. Between 9 and 4. So anybody that wants to be a part of that, maybe just. Let me know. Yeah, I think it's mostly up to anybody that wants to get anything out of it, because these are gonna be the big ones. What do you want on your website and how do you want it to look?
Yeah, that wouldn't really constitute a meeting.
The fire department could be integrated into their website.
Mhm. They could definitely have their own page and their own link.
Yeah, okay.
So we should talk to Brian too.
I mentioned that to him.
Did you?
Well, and I told him he could be part of it too, because we just paid for their domain listing. I said, well, we might be getting, and you can be part of it. And he's like, I want this paid, so baby steps. And you want to make sure he has his full page
Absolutely.
with no lapse, so.
So anyway, that's what I have. I'll send these emails out. How about this? I'll schedule the meeting for whatever is convenient for me,
Yep,
and then I'll let anybody else that wants to join.
perfect.
That was long-winded. I apologize.
It's all right. It's been a long night.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to adjourn and second, all in favor? Aye, opposed? We're adjourned, thank you.
What time is it really? Is that clock
There you
is
go,
right?
Dan, just making it more convenient for yourself.
That's right. That's how I roll.
Make up a name.
9:04.
Not the only person.
We're not that far.
Whatever.
Thanks for taking over.
Yeah.
from